Good evening, you all. Sorry about the delay and the fact that there's no music. As a disclaimer, the opinions and statements made on this show are not necessarily representative of the Supernatural Inc.'s podcast company. Welcome to the Spiritual Speakeasy with myself, Julie Couch. The bar's always open. The spirits are always served. And tonight's guest is EVP. We have Blake Smith and Shelly Pruitt. And Ryan's going to be showing up later. So without any ado, I'm going to bring them on stage.
He's always late.
Because it's just what we do, right? We just talk our way through it. And like there was my disclaimer and there was no great music. And it's here we are.
It's all right. Hey, you know what? If we had $1 for every time we screwed something up, it's like,
oh my gosh,
very rich people.
You know what? I just say it's a spirit thing, right? Like they'll either show or they won't show,
exactly.
And the music's either there or it's not there, and who really cares if it's there or not there, right?
Exactly.
Hi, Carol. Hi, Damien. Hi, Greg. We got the show going. Tell us about yourself. What is it you guys do?
Take it away, Shelly.
Start. Oh, okay.
Take it away, Shelly.
Well, we're Everything Vaguely Paranormal, and we are the group consists of me, Shelly Pruitt, Blake Smith, and Ryan Roberts. They are my partners in the paranormal. Together we have about over 30 years of collective investigative experiences, and we kind of got together because we all have a singular location in common, and that is Yorktown Memorial Hospital in Yorktown, Texas. I was leading a tour group there, met Ryan. He came on his birthday, loved Ryan whenever I met him at Yorktown, brought him on the team. We met Blake 6 months later, whenever he came for his birthday to Yorktown to investigate. And we kind of formed together. And then this debaucherous team that you see in front of you is what happened in the aftermath. So we apologize. We are sorry, but we have more fun than anybody else does.
That's so true.
And Blake does paranormal real estate.
I do. So I've been a realtor for about 10 years, and then doing all of this with these two crazy idiots for the last. I always call them idiots. Tweedledee, Tweedledum. We poke fun at each other all the time. That's the way that we are. Yeah. We poke fun at each other all the time. It's all straight up sibling rivalry, so it's all good. But anyways, no.
We are like bratty brothers and sisters. We torture
are.
the hell out of each other, but nobody better step to us because the other two will be like, "What'd you say?"
Yeah,
I will vouch for that. I have seen you all in action. Yes.
And so I met them going on 4 years now, and then just decided to combine both of my worlds of paranormal and real estate and become the paranormal real estate agent. So I specialize in I specialize in the odd and creepy, and love to go around and try to sell these interesting properties. We'll put it that way.
And that's a good combination. I mean, it's an awesome combination because it's a flair for the unusual, and that, like you said, the creepy, and you do the cleanings and stuff on the side, so that makes like a difference too, because you can do what you need to do. And
my favorite is whenever I get a phone call from him, he goes, "Oh my God, I just went to this house and you walk in and you could like feel the shit that's going on in here." Cool. Can I come by?
Yeah, I'm definitely the guy at the office that, those real estate agents, they're like, I don't really want to go show this house because I don't want to walk into the basement. And I'm like, I'll go. Can I take my equipment? Like, I'll totally go show it. Will you allow me to stay about an hour past the showing so I can see what's going on with the property? Awesome. Cool.
You know, what's amazing to me is when you go into, because you guys do private residences, like for people as well, right?
Yes.
Have you ever been to a private residence where they say, "I've never been down in the basement"?
No, because basements aren't really a thing in Texas.
Yeah, in Texas.
Oh, that's true. Because of the water table and everything like that.
No, just, we have tornado shelters. They're usually detached from the house. So.
Oh, okay. I always figured it's because like Houston is where I go with my son. So like everything floods in Houston. There's like what we would call a 1-inch rain, which in Jefferson City might clog a few drains. but then it doesn't do anything else. And in Houston, like, it gets fucking knee deep and cars are sliding and there's accidents and there's no place for the water to go. So I just assumed it was a water table, road drainage type of thing that was not.
Depends on the side. Depends on the place in Texas, because I'm in the DFW area, and Blake is in the East Texas Longview area, and Ryan is down in Austin. So it just depends on the area, because East Texas got that clay, that red dirt, that's just a clay base, and so it's really hard to dig down into that to make a basement.
So up here, we did a private residence here in Jefferson City, and the lady was like, I've rented this place for, I think she said 8 months or something, 6 months. And she goes, I've never been in the basement. It creeps me out. And I'm thinking, you don't know what's in your basement?
Yeah, right. I mean, not just spirits, but like mold. Do you have a leak?
Well,
there,
animals, did they leave the stuff before? That to me is so scary that you don't know what's in your basement. Like, I would have to know what's in my basement. I would just have to
don't ask, don't tell kind of thing. Where it's like, I'll leave you alone. You leave me alone up here, okay?
You just stay down there in the basement. And so you guys recently did something. You went to a house. Did you get a doll at that house, or what happened? I've heard a couple things. So, I follow you guys obviously on Facebook, but there was something about it was a really a traumatic couple weeks or a couple of nights.
Would you like to introduce her to Brenda?
Yeah, I can.
There's Ryan. Hi, I finally let me in. I was able to get in. We're all good now. So yeah.
So okay. So where do I start on this? All right. So one of the things that I've always wanted to do with paranormal is to start to collect and create this haunted object, haunted artifact collection of mine. And so we have these friends that they go around with us and they investigate quite often with us. And so they messaged me, and they happen to be in the same town I'm in. And she said, I have a doll. I need to get rid of this doll. There is something with this doll. I have met this doll before at an investigation. They brought her with them, and I got to investigate around and with this doll. And anyways, her name is Brenda. But what ended up happening was, this lady that had her previously said that she was having very horrific dreams, very surreal, horrific dreams that were playing on her fears, like fears of snakes. Like in her dream, she'd have snakes fall out of the ceiling on top of her, and she could not move. And so all this stuff. And so she feels like the doll was trying to harm her family, harm her daughter, all this kind of stuff. And so she said, I just need to get her out of my house. I need to get her out of my life. And I said, hey, that's not a problem. Yes, I can come and take her. She goes, I would rather her be with somebody who has experience with the paranormal and spirituality and things that can kind of contain her, if you will. I said, not a problem. And so I went and picked her up. Now the crazier part is
in the car, which
I did. Yeah. With you in the car. Yeah, with you in the car. And anyways, 2 days before I went to go get her, I'd been talking to this lady about picking Brenda up. And that night, the next night after I had the conversation about getting Brenda, I had one of the most surreal and most horrific dreams I had ever had, where I was laying on a table, strapped to a table, arms out, like this. And I could see this face forming that was like peeking like at me. And there was this dome shaped, something above me, and it kept popping in, popping out, popping in, popping out. And I was screaming, and I could tell when I woke up that I would have been screaming in real life, in my dream. And so, of course, in my head, I'm like, I got to go get this doll now. I got to have her. So
she was saying, hey, Blake, what's up?
Yeah. So I did. I went and picked her up, and this is Brenda. So when I got to investigate with her at Old Park Hotel in Ballinger, Texas, she did give me a little bit about her, and just holding her and being around her, I do feel that there is. It's so weird to see her on the screen with me right now. Anyways, if her head starts going back and forth, I'm chunking her. I'm sorry.
I would say she's looking at me, but she has no eyes. So
I realize that.
Yeah, really, really, really interested me about her. I got sent videos of the previous owner kind of doing little investigation with her, and she said that the windows are the
eyes of the soul.
Eyes of the soul to the or windows to the soul.
Eyes are the windows of the soul.
Yeah, thank you. And she's like, and she says, how come you have no eyes? And you hear a voice come through clear as day. She says, because I have no soul. And
so the eye next to you is different.
so you can kind of see
There's no eyeballs.
Yeah, there's
I know,
none.
but it's okay. So it's the oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm
So
glad
she
I
has no
won't,
eyes.
because I won't.
No, and the crazier part is like once I have not done too much with her on investigating with her, trying to get to know her, just holding her and being around her. I do feel that there is two that are with her. I feel a male and a female. I feel that the male is more of the aggressor that is possibly keeping the female attached or to this doll. So I'm anxious to kind of figure out exactly what's going on with her and why. But I do have I have a card that she came. Her name is Brenda. So
oh wow.
Yeah, so I do have the certificate of authenticity. But I haven't, like I said, I haven't gotten to investigate her too much, and but I'm looking forward to her being kind of the first piece of this haunted collection that I'm looking to build.
Well, I can tell you what I get off her, and I don't feel too. I feel that there's one very dominant female spirit with her who does not want to share whoever her main person is with anyone, which is why I think she causes discord. That I think she's a troublemaker. That spirit's a troublemaker, and because now she's picked you, I think she doesn't want anyone else to talk to you or be around you. That's just my opinion. So
well, I mean, one of the interesting things too is as soon as Blake got that doll, the next podcast we're recording, me and Shelly hear a female voice come over from Blake's end, and we're like, "Did you hear that?" And he's like, "No."
it was laughter.
Yeah. And then we keep going, and we go. We have a Patreon, and we were recording our post broadcast, and then you start hearing. We heard a woman say something again to the point where Blake is like, "There's somebody in my house."
But I heard I heard a male on my end is what I heard, and it was so profound on my end that I instantly got chill bumped. I instantly felt like somebody was watching me, somebody was looking at me, or something along that lines, and that I took the camera on my phone and put it on the screen and walked to my closet and grabbed my gun because that's what I thought. I literally thought somebody was in my house and had to clear my house live on camera.
Oh wow.
I mean, you could hear the voice, whatever it said, audibly. Like we heard it because we stopped and we were like, "What in the hell was that?" Well, and it was right after he got that doll.
And whenever we heard the laughter, and I'm deaf, I'm the person that hears nothing. Audio, no, I'm not gonna get it. And I audibly hear after we were talking about something, and I hear, and Ryan and I were both like, "Who just laughed in your house?" You know. And
Ravy said she was a witness. Ravy raves on. She says hi.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, Rave.
Yeah.
So, this is kind of funny because I picked up this doll from a location and we did, I did not, I was standing back, but L&M and gosh, I just drew a blank on stage. I just drew a blank.
That's okay. You have
Epic VIP.
Oh,
Mike and
Sam and Mike.
Mike and
So the two females of the team were doing dual estasis with the doll that I have, and it came out so my original name has been changed, and I changed it legally for several different reasons. Not that I was in trouble, but there was a whole legal thing with the divorce and everything. Right. And twice out of the mouth of L&M came my birth name.
Wow.
Full birth name. And it came out twice, and the doll knew that it was coming to me. And of course, a number of people jumped on that and said, there's that ancient world knowledge that only demonics can have. Because
make it very personal.
Energy, because positive energy isn't going to feel the need to commit to something like that or to change that.
Right.
And every time I handle her, and I do have her, and she's on lockdown, but I was warned very heavily that she is not to be part of the family. She is not to be included in things. She is not to sit on the couch and watch TV. She's not to go on road trips. She's not to take part in anything like that. Because it builds that energy. And when I handle her, I am a completely different person. My eyes change completely. I'm kind of like, if I had pants on, I would jump up and go get her just to bring her on. But there's probably a reason that I'm just like, dressed the way I am so that I don't go get her and they can interact. But that's really interesting that Shelly picks up on, she wants you exclusively and does not want you to be around other people. And I feel that very, very strongly as well.
I mean,
she will do everything she can to alienate you from the group. She does not want you. Chris, my husband, got on. He said, sounds as if the doll is manipulating you guys in slightly different ways. Absolutely.
I mean, I will say honestly, like, since I've had her in the house, I have not handled her too much. She did come with the box, and I've kept her in the box as much as I possibly can. She's just been basically sitting in this room that I am in that has the most protection in it and all that kind of stuff to kind of tamper things down. And I have not, since I've gotten possession of her, had any issue with her thus far. I haven't had any additional dreams. I hadn't, none of that crazy stuff. So there is somewhat of a, I don't want to say comfort, but comfort around her at this point right now.
Go ahead. I was gonna say
Shelly begs to differ.
I'm going to tell you, whenever he went and picked up that doll, the second she was in the car, I was worried because we were driving back to his house to put her in his house. And I was worried. I kept feeling like something was going to happen to us while we were driving. I was so glad to get back. But if you guys remember, the next morning, all I wanted to do was get up and get out of the house. And we stay at Blake's. And I was up, we'd been up all night, investigating. And I was up at like 6. And at 8 a.m., whenever Blake woke up, Ryan wasn't even awake yet. Looked at Blake and said, I got to go.
You were gone. I mean,
I felt like I had to get out of the house because I was just like, no, not here for this. But I do feel like she doesn't want, whoever her person is, she doesn't want anybody else around them. That's how I feel. So Brenda can stay in her box where I'm there. Brenda in that box.
Brenda does stay in her box. I'm gonna end up getting her something a little more permanent that is completely sealed. I think that's
maybe a safe.
Well, I think
with a salt circle in it.
Well, I think that's essentially kind of what I'm going to do, but it will probably be some type of glass contraption where she can see and view, but nothing. Right. It can contain, container, so to speak. She may not like what she's hearing right now.
What's going on?
Carol said she heard another voice. That was a few minutes ago.
Oh,
I did not, but I'm not on headset. I have a different kind of system.
Oh, we can go back and rewatch, Carol. Don't worry.
Go back and rewatch. My doll I started out with a one of those seal containers. So apparently I have no size, proportion, or ability to put triangular things in square holes. And I just can't do any reasoning like that. So my doll is like 2 foot big, and I tried to put her in a 1 foot cracker container or bread box. So I went and bought another container that's, like yay big, and it's got a snap-on lid and it's clear. And the energy was so disturbing where I kept her, even though I did everything I was supposed to do with her. So finally I took her out. She's completely out in the open in a cube with my other objects. And she has a salt ring around her. She has a salt cross inside the ring. She has iron going across her lap. I have a railroad spike going across that is a blessed railroad spike. I have religious tokens or items in there as well. She's been sealed with Archangel Michael's prayer and holy water and the whole 9 yards. It took me about a week or 2 weeks to get used to the energy every time I walked in the room. She has the ability to see everything that I do in that room, as well as my spiritual work. Excuse me, but I also have an altar system set up catty corner from her with my doll. That's a vessel that I put something in. Parallel or catty corner from her. So my doll is watching that doll.
It's like,
I'm not sure if that's good or bad. Mine has a Damascus steel blade. I'm not sure if any of this is good, but it's much more comfortable. But I don't acknowledge. I'll look at her when I come in, but I don't speak. I don't give attention because I'm not going to say I'm afraid, because afraid is a whole different ball game. I
Right.
don't want to feed it anything more than what it
Right.
has.
Right.
Right.
You just
I
don't
agree.
want to
Well,
encourage
and
it.
that's one thing that I've been asked over and over again. Am I afraid of her? I think that saying afraid, I'm with you, Julie. I think saying afraid is too strong of a word.
Yes. Yes.
I have a extremely healthy respect for her and
Yes.
what may be attached to her. And I think that that's a whole different thing. I'm not going to
Yes.
poke the bear, so to
Right.
speak.
We're
But I
cautious.
do. Yeah,
Right.
we're very cautious. But at
Yeah.
the same time, I would like to know what is attached to her. If there is anything that is more aggressive and a negative, then that's good for me to know, so that I know how to better protect myself with her being in the house. So I think it's
and
just
mine gave the same story.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody, mine gave the same story. It was a male abuser, multiple abuses, female that had been injured and abused from the time they were a child. And apparently this is a common scenario that is fed in that realm. Because what, as humans, who's not going to bite and want to take care of that energy?
Yeah.
So it's a hook. I mean, it's a great hook, whether it is or not. Greg says, isn't it enough that you could possibly bring home something on you or your gear?
I agree. That's why I don't bring that crap in my house. No,
mine stays in the garage.
My stuff stays in a storage shed. None of my equipment comes into my house.
See, and here I am. I'm like the one that's like, I don't know. I'm out of the three of us. I think I'm the one that's brought the most things home. I'm also the one that keeps my freaking equipment in the spare bedroom back here. You know, it's just one of those things. I don't think it's stupid. That's my opinion. They keep
my
theirs
equipment's
outside.
all over my house.
Yeah, I'm like, they keep theirs outside the house, but I know. I know what my boundaries are in the house and what my protection is with myself, with my environment, with my house, and everything that is sealed and done and all that stuff. So I have no problem bringing things back into my house that have to do with like haunted objects or equipment or anything like that.
I feel the same way too, like that. Shelly's shaking her head no.
I don't tempt fate. I get too many strange dreams. I get too many weird feelings. I catch things out of the corner of my eye. I don't need to say, hey, you want to come in too. No, you stay out there. Whatever's here, I deal with. I'm good. Because I was laughing. I have an imp. That runs around my house that my father has actually seen and asked me if I'd brought a dog into the house because he saw something run down. We were sitting there watching a football game and literally he sees something run down the hallway and so do I. And he goes, did you let a dog in the house? Because we don't have any animals. And I was like, no, Daddy, that was probably just a reflection off the television. But I saw it too.
Yeah.
And so,
I keep mine in the garage because the one time that I did forget to put it in the garage, I brought it into my bedroom. I had my backpack. I didn't have my equipment case like I usually do. And I had my spirit box in the bottom of my backpack. Well, I come home late at night from work and I get to my house and I hear a woman call my name as soon as I get out of the car.
Oh, no.
And so I turn around and she says, Ryan, like that, like trying to get my attention, like sounding out the syllables. And I turn around and I'm like, well, there ain't nobody here. And I look around, there's nobody on the street. It's late at night. So I go home, I go in the house, I go to bed and I'm like, that was weird. As soon as I lay down, my arm starts burning like hell. And I get up and there's 3 scratches going down my arm that I didn't do. It's like a cat had gotten a hold of me.
I think you keep telling your story, but I think that I've got that photo that I'll just.
He probably calls us, messages us, and sends us the pictures. Like, what the hell, y'all?
Yeah. So I go to the bathroom. I take a picture of my arm and I send it to Blake and Shelly. I was like, check this shit out. And I told them the story of what happened. And I immediately went to my case and I went and got holy water and rubbed on it and was like, you get out of here. Go and so I was like, why the hell?
That finger at him.
Exactly. I mean, I learned that from Shelly. That's what Shelly likes to do.
I go, you get out of here. You go home.
But I was.
Do you ever do that in the middle of the night?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you have things like hover that come in? Because I have that problem too. And I'll be like, Chris will be next to me. I'm like, baby, it's in the house. There's something in the house. And he's like, yeah, okay. And he goes back to sleep. And I'm like going, our Father, I rebuke you. I rebuke you.
You gotta go.
He's out cold. And I'm like trying to fight this thing by myself. And, it always goes away. But
I've had things standing at the end of my bed, and that's my go-to because covers are magic, and I'll go, get out of here and go home, and pull the covers up.
Oh God, I'd be afraid it would be like right there in my face. Yeah.
Usually get works. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm. That's the Texas way. Go and get.
Go and get. See, I was the parent that wouldn't look in my kids' closets. I wouldn't look under the bed. They'd be like, there's a monster under my bed. Okay, well then come in my room because I'm not looking in the middle of the night under your bed.
Oh, I will.
You're like, no, because now I'm freaked out and I got to lie to you and tell you that there's nothing under your bed. There's nothing in your closet. Just go back to sleep. But I'm damn sure not going to look under your bed.
And that one time you get dragged underneath there, you wish you hadn't.
No, I look under the bed.
My obsidian's good. Getting all these little comments. Damien says his haunted rocking chair sits next in his living room. Yeah, that's the kind. My stuff just is hanging around.
I think I got one of those as well. Not a rocking chair, but I do have a blue chair that actually is in this room as well. That Brenda actually sits in whenever she's just hanging out. That it's the only hangs out. Yeah, it's the only item in my entire house that I have a little miniature 5-pound Pomeranian, and it's the only item in the house that she's ever just looked at and got done that real low growl that I've only ever heard twice. And whenever I'm like, I look over him because I don't hear that all the time. So I'm like, the fuck? Like, and she's just, and I'd look at her. I'm like, no, ma'am, you better quit.
and I've seen that. I can attest to that.
Oh yeah, she totally let me know.
Yeah, I've seen that little dog go and stare at that chair, just sit there and stare at it. And I'm like, what is your dog doing? He goes, I don't know. She'll be fine.
Let's just pretend like that's not happening.
If we talk about it, it makes it real. It makes it
that's
real.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Damien said, do you not try to communicate and learn its story?
Not in my house, no.
In a location, I have no problem doing that. But I don't necessarily want to do it in my home because, that's your space you go to kind of decompress and not have to worry about that sort of thing. That's the last thing I want to have to worry about is shit flying around in the house if I'm just at the house on my own.
So not live at it.
Exactly.
Well, and there's rules to that. A lot of people don't follow the rules, and rules are loose in our field. Right? Everybody has their own rules.
That's the scratches on Ryan's arm.
Yes, straight down my arm like that.
Yeah.
But look at the curve to them. That's got a whole curve thing going on at the tip.
Right. And I did not do that to myself.
Out and deep. No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So doing some of the stuff that we do, you don't do tarot cards in your bedrooms. You don't do readings for yourself in your bedrooms. Bedrooms are sacred spaces. Houses can be sacred spaces. We don't do a lot of things in a lot of areas because if we do, that opens up an area that's a private area. We have enough trouble.
For me, I know that these two don't. I guess I have a different outlook than these two. This is where we're always going to disagree in this group between the three of us is because I do tarot, I do oracle, I do spirit dissections. I do all that kind of stuff. But the place that I do it in is in this room right here. This is the one and only space that I've made my own and put in the protection into and all that kind of stuff. So this is where I do conduct a lot of that stuff. So as far as investigating what's here in the house, I don't do that just because I already know what's here in this house. I know my grandmother's here. I know that I've got other past ancestors that are here. They helped protect this place as well. Other than that, I don't really have anything that unless it comes home with me, but then I just go, shoo, you get out of here and do some little witchy poo shit and deuces, you're out, So this is kind of where I conduct everything in my house.
So you do, but I also have a couple of roommates that I don't want to wig out because they know what I do and they're cool with it. But if I bring something home, I don't want them to catch the repercussions of it.
No, and that's true too. You have to think about that. Just like I have my kids come and go and my grandkids come and go. And I have one space that I do everything in. And then there's my kitchen, which is my catch-all for the witchy work because, it's harder to burn down than my other room. And I can keep an eye on my it's a whole thing. I have an asshole cat that's got long hair, and his tail like sweeps, and then everything goes poof. And so the kitchen's the best place to light candles and things like that.
Yeah.
Chris says you're well grounded, Blake. Yes, Blake is very well grounded.
I try to remain that way. It doesn't seem like that half the time, but I'll try. I try.
Well, I don't do anything in my house, and I don't want anything in my house because the things that come at me are genuinely, they're very, very negative.
Mm-hmm.
The negative things like to come at me, maybe because I'm not scared of them, and I'm like, come one, come all. You want to chat? Let's chat. But the negative things really come at me a lot. Maybe they don't like a mouthy female. I don't know. Too bad. Here I am. But I definitely don't want anything that wants to come at me in my own home.
Yeah.
So you stay over there.
I've and to say that I haven't had it come at me in my own house, I absolutely have. I've had physical attacks. I've had physical attacks in my house. And it's just for me, it's part of what we do. Unfortunately, sometimes you can do everything that you can try. As me and Shelly have a wonderful analogy with this. When we go to like residential, places, and we're trying to help these people, they're like, "We want you to do this, and we want you to do that, and seal it up, and get everything out." And we always tell them, "Listen, we can do everything in the world, but at the end of the day, if you're hurling bricks at a wall, at some point that wall is going to fall. You're going to have to continue to repair this wall over and over and over again. If we can't continue to come out and help you do this, because sometimes they're like, we just want it done, and then you just be gone." We're like, well, we don't come back. It doesn't
always work like that.
Right.
There is going to eventually be a way that they can get back in.
You got to follow up.
Especially if you're bringing the causes into the place. I mean, that's a whole, through anything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Or if there are two that agree and that it needs to go, and one that's still messing around with things they don't really understand, they're inviting it back in. They're going, we built the wall, but they're like, oh, look, here's a window. Come on back in. That does us no good, or them any good.
Yeah.
True. Damien wants to know, are you all religious? If he can ask that, and why, and that's why you may be targeted.
Who want to go first?
I can go first. I am not. I'm definitely more spiritual based. Just give you my back. I'm very open about religion and spirituality. It doesn't bother me. I was raised Baptist for most of my life, and then at about 16, I started questioning everything, and they didn't like that. So I just continued to question everything and decided to search out on my own. I found Wicca at a younger age, and that was more something that was attractive to me, that fell along and aligned with my personal belief system that I believed at the time. Since then, it has evolved. I follow a more pagan path, very nature-based, elemental-based, and doing that kind of stuff. And working with energies now is the next thing that I'm working on now. I've always had something that I couldn't explain from a very young age of feeling certain things that just never made sense to me. And it wasn't really until I got to these two that they were like, "Hey, no, you feel that? That's cool. Like, run with it, go with it." And then started meeting all these people at Paracons are like, "You've got something, roll with it, just be open to it." And so that's led me down different paths and different directions of looking into more spiritual aspects and everything. So I guess I'm just more nature-based spirituality, I guess you could say, element-based.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Brian?
So I was raised going to church when I was a kid growing up. And then about 16 years old, I started questioning everything as well. And I'm a total punk rock kid. So I was just like, I'm not going to church anymore. And so I continued to question and continue to kind of look into other avenues of what was out there. Ultimately, I still kind of hold on to some of the beliefs that I had growing up, but I'm extremely open to any and everyone else's belief. I think that it all has to do with intent, what you're trying to accomplish. So if I were to put a label on it, I guess it would just be spiritual.
And me, I grew up Methodist. We're not quite as strict as those Baptists are. You can go to church one time, once a week, and you're all good for another week. I grew up and I actually was a Sunday school teacher until I was up college, and I had always kind of had questions, but I didn't subscribe to the patriarchal hierarchy where there is a man named God in the sky who's going to punish me if I don't do this exactly right. That's not the way that I interact with people. I try to come at people from a place of like, hey, I love you. I like you. Tell me all about you. I want to know everything about you. I don't, because in my opinion, there's nothing my child could do to make me not love him. So if this all powerful man can cast someone into hell because you did something wrong, if he's truly the father, wow, how could you condemn your child to that? So I don't necessarily subscribe to the patriarchal hierarchy. I believe that there's a higher power. What I'm going to call it, I have no idea. But I know that when I need strength, I call upon the higher power. And so what that is, I have no idea. But I do believe in energies and intents. And I am more spiritual, that I will call on the God, the goddesses, whoever's available and will answer the phone, come and help me. That's what I'm here for. So.
Your phone a friend line. You have that multi phone a friend line.
I got a party line going on. Who's going to pick up and listen in? Yeah.
I would say as a follow-up to that, do I personally think that makes me a target for my belief system and stuff like that? I don't think it necessarily does. I think that has to do more with, as these two have said, is intention of what is your end goal kind of like in all of this. And I think it's just kind of proving the existence of some of these entities that are out there. I do walk down some of the more darker paths out of the three. I'm into demonology, shadow work, and all that kind of stuff. And so, they don't necessarily really like you talking about them so openly, and in my opinion. And so I think that stuff like that is what kind of gets us more targeted than really just our set of beliefs.
Yeah, I think that because the three of us, we refuse to be victims in a situation where there's something nasty. We're very much next man up. If one of us goes down, we regroup and the next one goes after to finish out whatever we're dealing with. But I think it could make us a target. That's where Blake and I disagree. I think it could make us a target. Just like if you're talking that they are as they were in death, as they were in life.
Right.
Then someone who didn't like someone who was religious, or someone who didn't like them. I think that just being who we are sometimes makes us a target. I don't think our religious beliefs make it one way or another. Right. But again, I'm all about bring the force of all. Why have one when you can bring all? Let's bring the whole army. Sure. And every religious belief, I'm here for all of them. You tell me what they are and I'm in. I want to learn, and I'm going to incorporate that into who I call on for help if I need it.
Well, and the stories.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Julie.
No, go ahead.
I was just sorry, go ahead. I think there's a lag. I'm sorry.
The stories are all the same. Within all of the religions, the stories are basically all the same.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
A higher power.
They're just told a little bit different. Yeah. They're just told a little bit different. They just call it by
a different name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and what I was going to say is there's a lot of people who come out and investigate with us. And there have been times where we have had, Wiccans, Reiki healers, Christians, Satanists, like whoever, but if something happened and like everybody has gotten together and pulled together to help someone out of a situation.
That's right.
So it's pretty interesting when you think about it that way, like how everybody, it's all setting the intention to try to do whatever it is you need to do in this field.
And the collective comes together often. We have had so many investigations where if something has happened, every person has not hesitated to put their hands on someone to pull away negative energy, to help and fix whoever that person is that might be experiencing something that isn't pleasant. The people that have come with us, we are all like, hey, you come do you and do what you do, and we're going to work with it, and we're going to incorporate it into what we do. But the second someone needs something, it's very strange how everyone that's at our investigation just goes right to them and works together.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Because it's a common goal. It's a unity. We all go in for the common good.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I want to believe that.
I want to believe it too. Yeah, we do. The four on the screen do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is, regardless of what your spiritual or your religious path is. I've worked some really, really rough cases, and like you guys, I will work with anything and everything that comes down that's reasonable. If it's there to attack, obviously it can go away. But if it's there to assist, then I'm open to it in that moment. And I can remember clearing somebody on a table and having a fellow person doing what I'm doing at the other end, and we're clearing, and hell, Baphomet dropped down. And he's like, y'all need help. And I'm like, I think we got it, but thank you. Let's always be respectful, because you never know when I'm going to need to call upon that. Like, appreciate it. And even my partner was like, was that just, I'm like, yeah, did you feel that? That was really cool. Bad timing, but really cool. Thank you. No, thank you. But thank you. But no, thank you.
I don't
so
want to owe you a
never,
favor.
Yeah. No favors today. No paybacks today, but appreciate the drop in. That's good to know. What happened at your latest investigation?
Oh God.
Oh boy.
Wait, what did we do last?
Which
I'm
one?
like, wait,
Yeah,
what
which
did we
one?
do? What did we do last?
There was
Old
one
Park was last.
Oh, Old Park. That's right.
Was that the one that was labeled traumatic?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So what happened? Or if you're not up for discussing it, that's cool too.
Oh,
no, we can discuss
Absolutely.
it, guys. Let's just keep it real generic, though.
Yeah, that's fine. We're not. Yeah, we'll keep the names up and stuff like that.
Right.
So we were at the location, and we had been down in what's known as Deacon's Den, and it was me and Ryan and Linda and Megan, and we had been doing some, Estes method, not as spirit box work. And prior to all this happening, Ryan and I both have our phones running to record, and we're saying, we kept seeing things. We kept kept getting weird words to the spirit box. And right before we turned it off, we both catch on our phones this voice that goes, sit, just like that. And we both caught it. A disembodied voice that did not come through the spirit box, because actually the spirit box had just been turned off.
And it was real creepy. That voice
and
was
we both caught it, which was very odd.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, okay, we're going to break up this energy. And I walked out of the room. Now, Ryan, you can say what happened whenever this guest came in.
Right. So we were getting ready to leave the room to kind of clear the energy, because when things get kind of heavy, we try to break it up a little bit in between sessions. And so we're getting up to leave, and I look, and she's holding her head like this. And I said, hey, are you okay? And she goes, no, I'm not. And I said, okay, well, let's get you out of here. So I'm behind her, walking with her to get her out of the building. And we get to the room where Shelly was staying in, which is the Bonnie and Clyde room. And she's like 2 or 3 steps in front of me, and she takes 2 steps and staggers and shoulder tackles the wall and goes straight to the ground.
Collapses right in front of the room that I'm standing in, and I'm drinking water because I can't figure it out. I'm so thirsty. It's like all of a sudden I was thirsty. I couldn't get enough water, and she walks right past the room and she collapses.
And she goes right in the fetal position, and she gets back down the floor, and she's rocking like in the fetal position.
And let me tell you something about this woman. This woman, she's very quiet. She doesn't talk hardly at all. She's very sensitive. She's very, I guess she has empath skills. But whenever she went down, Ryan yells, and I see Ryan in a panic. He's like, oh my God. And I step out, and I just wrap my arms around her, because Ryan tries to pick her up. She has jelly legs. She can't do it. I'm like, let her down, let her down. I wrap my arms around her, and she has such an energy coming off of her that I am holding on with all my might, and my arms are shaking, trying to hold this tiny, smaller than me, this tiny lady still. And she's going, let go. And I'm not. And she starts to punch me in the rib cage. She just starts to hit me in the rib cage. And no, not because this lady is not like that at all. And I was like, I'm not letting you go, so stop it. I see Sal and Linda, and I yell for Sal. I'm like, Sal, come here. I'm like, Sal, I need you. And here comes Sal, and here comes Linda, and they come running over, and they begin to try to pull this off of her. And Sal is pulling, and it's all I can do to hold her still. And I was like, stop fighting me. I'm not letting you go. And she's just like, she can't speak. The thing she's saying is very aggressive. And Sal is pulling this energy from her because he's a Reiki healer. And Linda is an ordained minister, and ordained through the Catholic Church, legitimate ordained minister. She's trying to pull this stuff off of her. And Sal begins to act strange, not like Sal. And Ryan, so you see this happening.
So Sal tries to stand up, and he goes jelly legged, and Linda grabs him on one side, and I grab him on the other side, and we have to like push him to get him up. And Sal never does
never
anything
seen
like
Sal
that. Like
go
I've never
down.
seen Sal go down ever. So we're like
And
trying
Sal's rocking, can't
Yeah.
maintain his balance.
Oh.
to, yeah. And he's like rocking on his heels. And like I said, he gets
But-
jelly legged. And so then me and Blake, we had to pick Sal up and take him down the stairs and get him outside.
And,
So
and
while
by now, at this point, when this is happening with Sal, everybody that was at the investigation is doing exactly what we just said a while ago. Everybody has come out into the hallway. We've all got hands on this lady, and we're all now trying to pull some of this energy off of her because she's just being crazy, just almost to the point of being taken over. And I just remember looking up and seeing Sal like hunkered over Linda as Linda's trying to raise him up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I jumped up and got with Ryan and started to help get Sal
so
out.
they
of the
they
building.
take Sal down. That leaves just me with her and her husband, who is obviously and understandably freaking out. And I'm looking
sure.
at him. I go, have you ever seen this? He goes, I've seen her be affected. He said, I've never seen her go down. And he is trying so hard to stay calm. And I'm hanging on to her. And then another girl comes up and she's putting her hands on her. And this energy, everything that is on her is like just bombarding me, because I can't just put on one hand and siphon it out. I have my whole body like trying to absorb everything that she's got. And it's not easy. And she is strong. That was so crazy. She is so strong. Finally, they come back up and I'm like, Sal, okay. And they're like, yeah. And I'm looking at her. I'm like, can you stand up? And she finally is like, yes, she can. They take her outside and I'm wiped. I'm sitting there in the hallway. I don't even think I stood up. They got her down the stairs and I couldn't even stand up. It was like I got hit. Again, I needed water. That's all I wanted. I was drinking water. And now you guys can tell them what happened, because you guys got her outside.
Sal is on, there's a tree to the left when you walk across the field across from Old Park. And Sal is behind this tree, just like puking everything up off of his stomach. He is retching on the ground after pulling whatever this was off of her. And so I take her over to another tree to the far right. And I was like, look, you need to ground yourself, like here, like touch this tree and try to like take whatever it is, like visualize, like push it into the earth, push it into this tree, get it off of you. And she's like, I don't know, I feel kind of funny. I was like, but you need to do that. And so she starts doing it, and then she's like, it's not gone. It's not gone. And so I run and grab Blake, and Blake, you had run inside and grab Shelly, right?
No, not at that point. I mean, basically at this point, it's another whole, I think we were out there for another hour to an hour and a half trying to pull this. I mean, we could be here all night talking about everything that happened during this whole little event. And basically all it was after that was we were trying to all at different times, like we think we'd get it down, we think we'd get it gone, and then she'd be all right for a second, then she'd go, it's not gone, it's still here, it's not gone, it's still here. And it was the second time that happened that I had to run back inside and grab Shelly. And I'm like, it's not done. Like and Shelly's like, I got nothing. I
didn't think I had anything left to even help with, because it was like, I got bombarded.
And one of the most odd things too is while they have hands on her trying to get this thing off of her while we're outside, you could put your hand close to her and can feel the heat generating off of her, like hot to touch on your hand.
It was like touching a stove.
Yeah, it was freaking weird.
So we can wrap this up. I mean, I get back down there and I see that Sal has dropped, that Blake has dropped out, that Ryan has dropped off. It's just Linda and Rhonda and another person that's got their hands on her. And I'm like, well, there's a free shoulder, and that's the one that's away from her heart. I'm going to go see if I can pull what's left off. And so I got my hands on her, and you can just feel this. And she is shaking. And all three, the other three that have their hands on her, they're shaking as well. But our Reiki healer's gone down. Blake's gone down. Ryan's gone down. Nobody has any energy left to put their hands on her and pull anything off. They just don't have it. And at one point, Linda's praying and using the rosary and everything. And all of a sudden she just goes, the girl does. And I went, and I felt like electricity that like just shot at me. And the girl that would have, thank goodness for Dana. Dana always remembers to have a camera rolling. Dana never took the camera off her. And you see my knees buckle, because I felt like this boost of like charge of energy. And I was like, there it comes. And it was all I could do to stand up. And then there was this one more sigh, and she goes, I'm kicking its ass. And then all of a sudden she just relaxed. And Linda did everything. She had no reactions to any holy relics or holy oil or holy water. And at that point, it was
Well,
gone.
After that, she had no aversion
After
to
that,
that.
yeah.
Prior
For a minute she
to
did.
Prior to
that,
that, she had.
they were trying to put holy water, like Linda was doing, forehead and then going to her palms. And when she got to her palms, because I think Ryan, you were back inside, Shelly, you were inside.
I was
was
out there for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was standing right there watching Linda do all of this stuff. And when she hit the palms, like this lady just goes and just starts flapping her hands at Linda, trying to knock the holy water out. And then Linda just takes the holy water, slaps it in her hand, and pushes her hands together like this. And she goes, I don't want it. And Linda clasps her hands around her and says, you're going to hold this holy water.
Good for
and
her.
Just holds her hands right there. And the second time that it wasn't gone, she was like, it's still here. Linda takes off for her car and goes and gets her rosary. Her blessed rosary, and then she comes back and she shoves that in her hand and wraps the stuff around her hand.
Because she
holds her there for a minute.
Because she was trying to fight her when she did that too. Like,
she had a big aversion to holy relics and holy water.
It was determined that they did not stay the night. And this was all happened before 2 a.m. And we didn't want them to. She was vulnerable walking back in. And in all honesty, I looked at Blake and Ryan and I said, I have nothing left. I said, we can't investigate anymore. I said, I can't pull anything. I can't fix anybody. I go, I literally have nothing. And Blake was like, I have nothing. Ryan's like, I have nothing. Even our Reiki healer was like, yeah, I've got nothing left. We were all kind of standing outside and I'm on the ground, cause I'm like, ooh, cause whenever you have to like encounter something, it's really nasty and
you're gone. You're spent.
Yeah, I was on the ground trying to get anything else off of me. And I know that Ryan, you grounded yourself, Blake, and you grounded yourself trying to just push anything that was left off of us.
Let's add a little brevity to the situation though, as we're all like trying to get this like grounding. A bunch of us are in the dirt, like hands on the ground. A cop has pulled someone over across the street and he's just standing there with his hands on his hips, just looking at us and looking at his partner while we're doing
it's very much standing there like, he's like,
like, what the hell are these people doing? What kind of party are they having?
I wasn't concerned about him.
I think Ryan was the only one concerned about him.
It was funny though.
It was funny.
So what's the history of this place you were at?
So Old Park Hotel, it's in Ballinger, Texas. It's been several things over the course of the years. It started as bunkhouse for the railroad workers out west whenever it was first built. It's been a private residence at one point, way back when. The original house has been incorporated into this 10,000 square foot hotel now. And when I say hotel, it is not an actual running hotel. It is, you rent out the whole location,
it's a venue.
It's a venue.
Investigate.
And so it's been a hotel on several occasions, brothel on several occasions, antique store, courthouse, school, a saloon. It's been several things just over the music store at one point. And so I think just with the changing of the hands, over the years and the things that have been brought in there, like the antiques and stuff, it's just brought all of this energy with it, that has allowed things to, I hate to use the word fester, but fester, and grow and become more intense over time. And it wasn't until they opened up the jail, the old Reynolds County jail across the street, that things then started to get somewhat
a little
dark,
more negative,
real intense,
and negative and more aggressive and all that stuff. So we kind of have learned over the last year, I guess we could say, guys, something like that's just the new Old Park now. It's never going to change. That's pretty much what we first started going with, getting the brothel girls and having fun and getting grabbed and goosed and all that kind of stuff.
And had your skirt lifted up. And that has now changed. It has shifted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So was there ever I've got people are commenting and I'm going to get to the comments in a second, but was there ever a psychiatric history there?
Not to my knowledge.
Not that I know of. No.
Yeah. Not to my knowledge.
Huh. Okay. Let me shoot out the comments and then I want to come back to that. Greg says, y'all should have rosaries doing your work. I think they actually do. It's a great location. Chris says, Ryan, you're the watchdog. Brandy said they had some weather. She just got on. Hey guys. Hey. We've got storms coming up through here.
They've already been through us. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The reason I asked you that was Shelly, you said a couple of things that like clicked with me. One, you said you had excessive thirst. So the two places I go in my brain with excessive thirst is insane asylums with the water drinkers, the fluid drinkers. Completely overpowering. It's like a bad drunk with an aggressive drinker. They get superhuman strength. They're never satisfied with water, and they get crazier than hell. They have mad human strength.
Something interesting, Julie. These two guys can tell you. Whenever I order food, I eat like half of it, and then I give them the rest of it. I'm like, yeah, I'm done, because I don't eat a whole lot at any time I sit down to eat. I'm a snacker. I want to snack here and snack there, but I don't ever eat a full meal. When we got there, I got to that location that night, I could not get enough food.
Okay.
I ate and ate, and I couldn't get enough water, and it was water, and I usually drink soda pop, and it was just water. I mean, Ryan even looked at me and goes, I have never seen you eat that much.
She was ravenous. I mean, just absolutely. Every time you turned around, she had something to eat in her hand, and she does not eat that much at all. She's like a bird.
Usually in an investigation, I try not to eat, because if I run into something negative, I'm going to throw up. So I don't want it. I don't want to see it a second time. I'd rather just wait, and eat later. Yeah. But I ate and ate and ate, and I could not get enough water. The whole time I was there, I was thirsty. And so
you were literally feeding the spirits. When we set up altars in different Hispanic religions, and we set up altars for the spirits, and I'm not going to use names, because then other people are going to say that's cultural appropriation. It's going to get into a whole smear thing. Right. But you set up glasses of water, and there's color codes for the different glasses of water, because just like the rainbow, different spirits have different colors, different personalities, if you will. And of course, bikers don't like to drink at military bars. And there's, like, you can make assumptions about different types of bars. Heavy metal people don't go to hip hop bars. You go to the drink place that you're comfortable in. And so when you set up these sources for your altars, you set them up with color codes, so that each spirit can drink out of their own glass of water. Positive spirits never need to be fed. Their energy is replicating. It's positive. It draws in the light. The light source is always feeding them. Your negative spirits have to take. They have to take. And so in the middle of all of these altars, we set up a huge cup, because what are negative spirits? They're very greedy. They're very boastful, but they're very ego. So, oh my God, I want the biggest glass. I don't want the tiny little glasses. I've got to have the biggest glass. So in the biggest glass, you put your crystals or your blessed cross in there, so that they get in there to drink, and you ground them. They can't get back out. It's a feeding source. And when you said that, that was the other thing that triggered for me, was you were the source for the water. There has to be fuel. There has to be food.
So you're saying it's my fault? I hear that a lot.
I'm saying that you were the draw there. You were the person that got hooked into feeding them the necessary energy that they needed.
Yeah.
And that's not surprising at all.
Yeah,
I'm free food.
I was gonna say that's why we usually will just like get there, and we'll just open the door to whatever location. We'll just go, okay, Shelly, after you. Go.
Where are we going?
And then as soon as she like walks in, and like we're just like, hey guys, your free buffet's here. And just, like, close the door real quick, and then just let her wander for about 30
Julie's
minutes.
met us. She's seen me running around all over the place. I don't sit still.
No, we would never send Shelly by herself.
You do it all the time. You don't have to send me. I go on my own.
But we do that, and I think there's a certain draw. There's a certain. Chris says, Shelly, you channel everything, but he's told you that before.
I do, Chris.
We've had that discussion before, and I do too. Good or bad, it's going to find me. And it's going to go through me, and I can put up everything that I need to put up, but it's still going to find me. Now, whether it takes me down or it just goes through me is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something interesting, Julie, is that Blake had gotten us protection bracelets at the last Paracon we had gone to. And interestingly enough, we were like, it's been really quiet. And I go, what's different? I said, I have this on. And I took it off. I said, let's see what happens. All that crap happened right after I took that bracelet off within an hour.
Yep.
So I was like, I'll put this back on now.
I think I've had enough.
Open that doorway. Brandy says, I thought the same thing with mental health. And I think there's an oddity there too, because I think the two go hand in hand. I think thirst, that fluid, water is a medium. We know water is a gateway. And so the more you drank, the more that gateway you were served as a vessel for the spirit to come through. Michelle says, hey, I hope everyone's okay. Michelle says she's a solo investigator, always alone. I could give you my spiel. We all could give you our spiel about that.
we could. Be careful.
We've all been there. Just be careful. That's all I'm going to say. Uh-huh. Damien's already got his ass chewed from me several times about those conversations.
You do. You need a backup, somebody who knows when you're not you, so that to keep you safe.
Yeah.
Unless things don't come around you. I mean, there are those people that don't draw that. And I'm just going to put that out there. There are a lot of investigators that don't draw that.
Mm-hmm.
Shelly,
not me. I need backup.
I have to have backup every place I go because my eyes are the key. And if somebody isn't watching my eyes, I'm screwed. Because I will tell you anything to get out of something or to walk away and have something on me.
I think that's what
and not know that I'm doing it.
That's what I love about investigating in a group, especially with these two. At the end of the day, you don't do over 95 investigations with somebody in the last 3 years without forming a huge, special, very codependent bond.
Yeah.
And that's what we have, because I know when the lights go out and all shit it all breaks loose and it goes to hell. I ain't got to worry about it because these two down below me they got my back. And I think that's a very powering feeling to have whenever you walk into a location. And I think that allows us to be able to relax a little bit and be able to receive a lot of this evidence that we've been able to capture, because we know that no matter what, the other two have your back, regardless of what happens.
And we also have that agreement is like, if one of us says something is wrong, we need to move. It doesn't matter who says it. Doesn't matter if the other two agree or not. If one of us says something's not right, we're going to trust you that you're tuning into something that maybe the other two aren't picking up, and we'll shut something down and we'll move. Doesn't mean we're not going to go back.
Yeah.
But in that moment, and even in moments when we have not felt right, one of us has said to another one, you are going outside with me right now. And all of us know, don't argue. Like, now, no offense, we probably ain't gonna be able to drag Ryan out, but Ryan can probably pick up either me or Blake and force us to go. So we don't want that kind of embarrassment. But we all agree, if one of us says you need to go outside right now and get out of this building, we go. We don't argue. It might take them a second to go, you're arguing with me. Remember our agreement? You go outside. But we trust the other two's instructions, because they wouldn't tell us to stop if they didn't think something was going on with us.
Trust is so big.
Yeah.
Like, you have to trust your team 100%. Mm-hmm. You have to know they have to have your back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. And especially when you have a medium or a channeler or more than one in your team, we can put up this cover that we're well protected. And yes, most of the time we are well protected, but there's always that instance where you didn't get enough sleep, you didn't get enough food, something happened and the doorway is open, or we call it open by saying, I'm here.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I know with Shelly too, all I have to say is I'm here and the doorway's open. And it's like, fuck me. Why did I say that?
You know how many times I've said that? I've been like, oh shit, fuck me. Here we go.
Yeah, and I've said that, I've walked into houses and looked at Chris and said, oh fuck, here it comes. Like, it's on its way. And then I've been blindsided where I'm like, oh, I think everything's good. And then boom, and it's in, and it's like, oh man. That was not the way it was supposed to happen. It was not supposed to happen that way. And it does real quick. And, whether it's a demon, which, most things are not demonic.
Right.
But your negative energy can hit you so blindsided that, like you said, the next thing you know, you're jelly need and you're puking your guts out, and you're not who you are, and things have changed very, very quickly.
It's not even, and sometimes it can be so subtle. The craziest experience, and still has kind of rattled me to this day, still is another investigation at Old Park Hotel that we had. I still to this day have about 4 hours worth of missing time that I cannot account for. I have no idea what happened. I have no idea what I said. I've been told what I did and what I said. It wasn't me. And it's things like that, taking that little, noticing those little subtle changes over time to get people to realize, like, this is not you. This isn't
right.
You.
Right.
So.
Well, that moment that Blake's talking about, I was trying to pull the stuff off of him, and I had a hold of his hand, and he literally just started squeezing my hand as hard as he could, like he was trying to hurt me. And I was like, let go. And he was like, just staring at me, and I go, let go. And he didn't do it. And I said, I will break every finger you have. Let go. And that was the first thing. That's how I knew he still had some kind of control, because his grip relaxed just a little bit, not a lot. I go, I will break your fingers. Turn loose of me. Well, right before he came out of it, I had a hold of his hand again, and he started to squeeze it really tight. Again, I go, let go. And he didn't do it. I go, let go right now, or I will break your fingers. And he goes, please don't break my fingers. That same was like he was coming back. He had no doubt I would do it.
Yeah.
Well, it's like somebody's driving the car and you're in the back seat, is how I explain it. And like you're watching, sometimes you're watching, sometimes you're not. It's that mirrored screen or that smoke screens between, and you can't even see where you're going. You have no idea. And
it wasn't even that. I mean, it's like the whole night is gone for me. I mean, Shelly had told me at one point she's standing in front of me and she's pulling energy off me. So are a couple of other people, and they're using different, tools and techniques and paraphernalia and iconography, I guess you could say, to get this off of me. And apparently I just look at her and I smirk and I just go, it's never going to work.
Oh, shit.
And I don't remember hardly any of that. Like I remember the portion of, please don't break my fingers. It was like,
when you were starting to come back.
I remember that. But
because you were hurting my hand so bad, and you just wouldn't turn loose, and I was just like, okay. But with that one, what was interesting was the way that we kind of got him, where he said it's never going to work. I said, you know what? It's going to work, because you don't get to stay here. You don't get to take up space. And the way that I got Blake to come back, I said, okay, if I tell this? Is it okay if I tell this?
Yeah, that's fine.
Blake?
That's fine. Yeah.
I started asking him just random questions. I wanted to engage his brain,
Right.
And I just started asking him random questions like, I'm like, who are you inviting to dinner tomorrow? Just weird things like that, just to break his focus. I figured if I could break his focus and get him to answer me, then that would get his brain re-engaged to fight whatever had a hold of him.
Right.
And it was just strange, random questions. Tell me this. Who did you love the most in your life? Tell me that. And just go with that. And I'm like, finally, where I got him to say the names I was looking for that protect him and go with him. But I had to go around it to get him to say it. I had to get him to consciously think of them. And I said, now call on them to help you. I said, right now, you say their names and you call on them. And suddenly he starts coming back after he says the names. But whatever had a hold of him was not going to let him just say those names and call on it. I had to disengage, get his brain thinking along another line so that he could say it and he could call on them and he could help himself. So,
well, because that would defeat the purpose of the thing taken over if it was easy. Brandy said being a team and having others watch over you is big. Even with just two, like Julie and Chris, it's her Brandy and her daughter. She has a teenage daughter who's an investigator, very, very professional investigator, has her own shop, does her own stuff. Amazing. Bella is amazing. Damien says, I don't shake people's hands or hug them for that reason.
You hugged me, Damien.
They take on energy. The living is definitely worse than spirits. If we want the dead to shut up, we just turn off the equipment. It doesn't work for some of us.
That doesn't always work.
Sometimes,
it doesn't work.
Greg reminded me that I am now out of fucks. I'm always out of fucks. I use up my fucks every night. Damn it. I'm just trying to catch up on comments here. Michelle says, I'm on the
nice.
West Coast. If I move east, I'd have plenty of people to investigate. We'll come to the Midwest or go to the South.
Yeah.
We'll all investigate with you.
I mean, hell, we in Texas. We ain't too far. So
Just
You
have
know,
a big old
and-
paranormal party.
I'm 13 hours from Texas, and I drive every couple weeks. Well, now every
Shoot.
month. But yeah, like, hell, we'll just all get a party and roll down to Texas. Roll out.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
I said,
Damien
heck, we
says
make
you
it up to
haven't-
Kansas quite
you
often.
haven't- Yeah. Damien says you haven't seen his Ouija board arm, so you probably wouldn't hug him. Michelle's going to the Velisca Axe House in March or May.
Oh, that's
Is
awesome.
that an invitation?
I think we should put it together. I think we should all go out there.
That would be
That's
so
cool.
cool.
Tell
Like
Melissa
5,
we're
6
going to
hours
bombard
from-
her investigation.
Brandy says, Julie, I see a road trip to Texas for us. I
Come
know
on.
the best places to stop on the way. Good food. Good food. I'm a foodie.
We know the best places when you get here.
Mhm.
Yeah, see? Absolutely. Absolutely. Final words, future gigs. But we're like already over. Sorry, guys.
Oh,
Yeah,
no
that's
worries.
Oh, that's
Wow.
all right.
Future
We could
gigs
do this
as
all night.
yeah, we could do this all
Oh,
night.
absolutely.
Shoot, we'll just tell you. I'll just give you the spiel that we give every week on
Tell
our
them everything
podcast.
they need to know, Blake.
Yeah. So, if you want to follow along with us and come on some adventures, you can go over and hit the our Facebook and our YouTube channel. We have a Everything Vaguely Paranormal podcast live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. We cover everything from our paranormal investigations to other hauntings. We have special guests, true crime, aliens, UFOs, you name it. We're going to cover it. We've also got on Paraflix Paranormal Plus, we have After Dark with EVP, which is basically kind of along the same lines, but is heavily geared towards the paranormal only, with paranormal location owners, other special guest paranormal investigators, as well as showcasing a lot of our evidence as well. So you can check that out. We've got a Patreon channel that you can go and view that has a lot of our raw, unedited investigation footage, as well as I think over 400 extra videos of bonus content from us. If you like the audio versions of podcasts, you can find us on any streaming platform, Spotify, Amazon Music, all of that. Take us with you and you can listen to us. But if you want to see these wonderful faces again, every Tuesday night at 8 p.m., you can come over to Facebook and YouTube and watch the podcast.
We're sorry.
Yeah, we're sorry. We're sorry
No
in
sorries.
advance. We
No
have no
sorries.
filter. We go off the rails and we just throw digs at each other most of the time. So
Well, apparently the group thinks you're fun too, because Brandy said, what a fun group.
Oh.
Chris says he
Well,
loves
thank
hearing
you.
about your experiences. Damien said, thank you. Really good team, good vibes. Thank you for sharing
Appreciate that.
experiences. Having the Apple Sour Spirits bar is always open. Oh, okay.
Down for an apple sour.
Yeah, I'll take one.
Sours. Yeah, my bar serves all spirits all the time. 24 hours
Hell
a
yeah.
day. 24 hours a day. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. This has been, I mean, like, we could go on. I have so
We
many.
could.
more
Oh, yeah.
questions. So you'll have to come back.
I was gonna say we could do a part
Anytime.
two.
Yeah,
Do a
anytime.
part two. You let
Let's
us
do
know.
a part 2. We'll have to pick.
Sure.
We'll have a haunted doll thing.
No,
I'll hunt the
Everybody
doll off.
bring their haunted dolls.
I don't own one.
I don't either.
Oh,
I
Brenda, sit
got
down.
I got an adopted demon. Does that count?
Well,
An
hey,
adopted demon.
I do
Yeah.
too, and mine's name is Steve.
Yeah, you got little red eyes.
See,
I
I'm
don't
the
think
great-
Look at that.
I'm the crazy one of the group because I got one of those as well. It's up on that shelf, but I'm over here with Brenda the doll, and I got my demon mask as well. So I'm
Look
just
at
like,
that.
yay!
And I do have my ghost too, my little ghost with the blonde
Oh
hair.
yeah, I got mine over here.
This
He's
is
over
my
here.
ghost I was happy to bring home.
Yeah.
I can't reach mine, but he's really cool too. So
Well, I feel left out because I'm the one that's got a lot of haunted stuff, and my stuff's all in the other room. I'm not getting
We keep
up on
it
this
close so
show
we
and
keep an
doing
eye on
that.
Yeah.
So we'll have to have a haunted object show follow up.
There we go.
oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have to find some.
Shelly can just like talk about what we have and how bad it
I'll
is.
watch. I'll watch and judge. Yes.
Judge me. Thank you guys so much. Stay on. I'm going to put y'all down backstage, and I appreciate everybody.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.
Maybe I'm going to put you backstage. I don't know.
Just
It's a whole thing. I'm going to try. Good night, guys. Thank you again.